Edge and Christian are back together. I think we can call them Edge and Christian for now because I'm going to make that mistake anyway. But it's an AEW, so it's Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. And I understand there is some criticism towards it, but I think it's pretty flubbing good. Because yes, there are some plot holes here, or it's just been in fast forward. It's been very, very quick, essentially to get to the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. But as I said over on What Culture Ups and Downs as well, sometimes things are just nice. And sometimes I think we don't need to be overcritical about this. We can talk about it, and we should. For example, I do think the hug that came last week was in record speed time, which is very interesting. In hindsight, I was like, actually, it would have made more sense for Christian Cage to have come back and hugged Adam Copeland, and Adam Copeland being like, what are you doing? Because nobody can trust Christian. He's the worst person ever. I think that would have brought more intrigue to the thing, which is kind of what we did here. And the fact that Adam Copeland is now happy to kick Nick Wayne's and Killswitch's ass, sorry, Kip Sabian and Killswitch's ass, but he was still happy to kick Nick Wayne's ass, is really peculiar, because like a month ago he said, you know what, I understand why they turned on Christian. I would have turned on him too. But then you had this segment between Christian and Adam Copeland. And it's just wonderful. Like, there was so many little bits. It was so good. Christian Cage saying he found himself to be perfect, so there's nothing he needs to change. Adam Copeland calling Christian his asshole and then going, wait a minute, I shouldn't have said that. It's almost as if, because they're back together and they understand they'll have a very specific part of the show, whatever weight may have been on their shoulders, that's not the right term, it's all fluttered away and they're just going to have fun. And I thought this was so entertaining. I thought it was so funny. It made me laugh out loud a couple of times. And you have the nostalgia. Let's not pretend that people don't have nostalgia in 2025. So we just ticked a lot of boxes. And it's wild to me. I think the last time Edge and Christian were together in WWE was about 15 years ago. And even their initial run is like 2 years tops. Like, it doesn't last that long because it was the Attitude Era. In the Attitude Era, we have to break everybody up. And then, of course, Edge went on his run and Christian went to TNA before he came back to become the World Heavyweight Champion. So you can argue this is their proper comeback. I know they did something again, like in 2010 or whatever the flub it was. But this is kind of like a new dawn. And they're best friends. And it comes across on television. And they know how to interact with each other. And I can understand the story point of, how can I even describe this? But, you know, you need help with these two, and you need help with these two. They're allies of convenience. It's the second time I've said that today. Apologies to Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, but they're not friends because they need to re-earn that trust, and I think they will, right? They'll have the match on Sunday. Of course, they shall win, and then go on probably to take on FTR, who will be the brand new AEW Tag Team Champions, and then in a 1-2 punch, they've achieved all of their goals. Maybe they have an elongated program with Cash and Dax. I do not know. But yeah, I'm just happy that I got it, because sometimes all companies, AEW, WWE, TNA, they wait too long. And other times they do things too quick. But I think in the moment, you need to sort of dissect it emotionally, which is the worst thing that I will say today. And if it makes you feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum, and it makes you feel good in your tootsie toes, I mean, that's why I watch wrestling, right? I mean, you can sort of laugh away the silliness and the faux pas and the plot holes, because there's another part to all of this, which was Killswitch / Luchasaurus coming back. I mean, if you read all the reports about him, it sounds like he was near to death, and we've had too many of those over the last few years. So the fact not only is he able to sort of live a healthy life again, but he's back in the ring. How can you get mad at it? Why would anyone sit here and go, nyah, 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 nyah? And of course you can do that. I'm not taking that away from you. But just please caveat it and please balance it out with the human side to all of this. And of course it sucks that Nick Wayne isn't able to compete because he broke his foot. But in a way that may work. I still think we need to do the Christian Cage-Nick Wayne match, which is another thing. Very strange we were going to do the tag before the actual blow-off that we've been waiting for years, quite literally. But yeah, I mean, Kip Sabian and Killswitch taking on Christian and Adam Copeland. Actually, there is one last faux part to this, as I break my own rule, because Killswitch has finally turned on Christian because Christian was horrible to him. But now in this scenario, Christian's the good guy, Luchasaurus is the bad guy. It's all over the place. It is. But I got to the end of it and I said, you know what? I had a good time. And I get into not arguments, but people come and yell at me about this stuff all the time. Or you said this and you said that about this and that doesn't equate to this. It's not how I watch wrestling. I don't sit there with a diary and go, on the 7th of July, I felt this way. And therefore on the, 20th of August, I must feel like this if they do it again. No, I take it in the context that it's presented to me in. And because of my memories of Edge and Christian, and because of how, I don't want to overdo it here, but I understand it'd be people closer to him. But I was very worried when I read that Luchasaurus news. So all of that just makes me go, fun, wrestling, silly angle. One of the best tag teams of my lifetime being back. How can I absolutely be mad at this? And I can't. And I thought it was wonderful. And of course, I kind of understand why they did push fast forward, because they had a massive crowd last night. They're going to have a massive crowd on Sunday. A lot of these are going to be Attitude Era post-WWE fans. So they're going to cheer them and just remember their childhoods. That's good stuff. And never forget, the best time you're ever going to watch wrestling is when you are a child, because most people find it when they are a kid and everything's real and exciting. And, you know, a brand new wrestler is going to come out and become your guy for life. So really made me happy, is the way that I'm going to phrase it. And ultimately, I look at the pay-per-view, I would pay money to see them wrestle, right? I really, really would. They shouldn't lose. I saw somebody say that. I was like, no, that's not what I want from wrestling. Sometimes I want it to be nice and simple. And again, just to make me feel good, as the song tells us. And then, yes, I think FTR should also beat the Hurt Syndicate. I think they'll probably beat Bro Dido, Bandido, Banabim Bam Bro, because that match was amazing. If you have 25 minutes today, go and watch that match. But anyway, it's going to be a three-way now at, what the flub is it called? Forbidden Door. And I think the reason we'll probably do that is because the Hurt Syndicate are going to lose. Totally fine. But I would belt up, to use that stupid phrase, FTR. And then I would go straight to FTR versus Edge and Christian, right? That's a dream match in many ways. If we want to call it the last generation, it's the last generation taking on the new generation. It's two teams that understand story and creative and have experience. It really could be some of the best stuff that we do. And because this tournament has been so good, you can elevate those tag team titles again, and I still think they could go up a couple of notches. Not that the Hurt Syndicate have done a good job, but they haven't really had any proper feuds. And I understand the time limit draw in AEW. Love the fact that they do them, but it's always a little bit telegraphed now because everyone starts talking about time. Oh, I do believe a period of minutes has passed. So it gives away the finish, but ultimately, again, the tournament's been so good. The final match is going to be so good. I'm just sort of copying and repeating what I just said. When things are hitting on that level, I'm happy to sort of take and leave what I can get. So all of that was great. And it really, really makes me excited about the future of the tag team division, which I think also will be sort of your hanging above emotion with all of this. Because in Canada, FTR versus Edge and Christian probably win. Or you could probably come up with the guys where FTR sort of managed to, be dickheads or whatever and do it again at another show. I don't know if people would mind that. I mean, Full Gear isn't until December, November? I can't remember. But you could come up with something. I'm sure. No, Full Gear's at November. Then it will end as December. There's plenty of ways you can do this, right? As long as the television is good week to week and you're telling good stories. And I suppose you have to piggyback off of this to a real-life attempted murder attempt on AEW. Now, people have already messaged me this. This went too far. I don't mean they went too far in the sense they're offended, but within the realm of sense. Actually made me laugh. And I do understand this because there are so many questions coming out of this. Why did Hangman Adam Page wait to the count of 5, right? He thought about this. He was like, maybe I should let Mark Briscoe burn. I mean, I really don't want to agree to these MJF stipulations. I'm sure Mark Briscoe's a tough guy. He can survive a little bit of fire. 2, surely straight away Tony Khan would have walked in there and said, you can't do this, MJF. You can't hold the company to ransom. Otherwise, everybody is going to start doing this. Like, if you want a match with Mercedes Moné now for the TBS title and you're Julia Hart, I don't know, I know you're friends with Sky Blue, but turn on Sky Blue and threaten to attack her with a murderous weapon, and you'll get it. And you'll get it to whatever stipulations you want. Only Julia can win. Well, that's fine. We're going to do that. And also, Hangman Adam Page probably could have called MJF's bluff. I don't think he was actually going to set him on fire, right? I understand all of these things. But that only works when you forget to drop in the word professional wrestling. And I've talked about this time and time again. I'm going to use the same examples I have done in other videos because I think they're the best examples. But why can you get eliminated from the Royal Rumble and still be an official competitor to eliminate other people? That is absolutely bonkers. Why do evil people talk backstage when a camera's on them saying, this is our evil plan? How does an Irish whip work? Why do people jump up for power bombs? It depends how much you want to deep dive into this. I'm not saying that you have to like it. You can say, this is too far for me. We've gone way too out of the realms of serious. I need a little bit of believability in my wrestling, otherwise it loses me. But I think on the right day and within the right context, use that word again, it just makes me so damn happy. I was laughing out loud, which kind of goes to show it doesn't ever impact you in the way that it's meant to on paper. You're meant to be worried about Mark Briscoe. I just thought it was hilarious that a man to get stipulations in a title match would be willing to kill another man. The police don't care either. There's another one. Cops aren't worried about it. But I think we are dealing with fairy tales here. And in a fairy tale, you go really extreme with the good guy and you go really extreme with the bad guy. So Hangman Adam Page, of course, isn't going to let any harm come to his friend over a world championship. He loves that belt, but it's not as important as people. He's let us know that he's a family man. He's a real dude. Whereas MJF is a borderline psychopath and he will do whatever he wants to get his way. So now the countouts aren't going to matter. The DQs aren't going to matter. Anything goes, essentially. And MJF can win by all these devious means. He's also not going to have to cash in his money in the bank, whatever the flub we're calling it, magical contract now. And you can even argue there's a scenario where Hangman Adam Page beats him and then MJF turns around, clonks him with a pipe or whatever, and he gets to 1, 2, 3 after signing his contract in order for him to become the champion. Don't mind that at all. I think Hangman Adam Page is such a strong babyface that him only having a 1-month reign works. Obviously, the worry you have is that we had a heel champion for, almost a year. I can't remember what John Moxley's run was. And people do like Hangman. So again, you want to put good feelings into people. But I certainly don't want this kind of stuff to be taken out of pro wrestling. How boring would that be? It means every single thing has to be like, I'm going to beat you, sir. No, you're not. I will beat you. Then what, you get a white glove and slap each other around the face? Flub that, man. Wrestling is a soap opera by its nature. It is over the top. I mean, the whole concept is nuts. We're going to pretend to roll around in our underwear. So if you want to come up with the most over the top, insane storyline that we've seen for a while, do it, right? Of course it can't be for everybody. That would be redonkulous, but I was so entertained. Probably sports entertained, dare I use the word. Somebody kicked me out the window. But it underlines MJF is a terrible person. It underlines Hangman Page is just the virtuous human of us all. That's probably why Hangman has to win. I don't think you can have an attempted murderer walk away with the championship. I think it's like when you bully someone on wrestling, the bully eventually has to get theirs. Otherwise, we're telling the wrong stories. Actually, what peeved me more, which is way too strong, but we'll go with it, is that clearly Ricochet and the Gates of Agony are now the Hurt Syndicate. We just pushed them in there. So something clearly has happened with that group, unless I'm overthinking this. They are going to help MJF on Sunday, but I can't see that now, although you could. But why would it be them? Why? It's this weird, convoluted storyline for the Gates of Agony and Ricochet now to be like, okay, we'll help you, MJF. Then it's the Hurt Syndicate that come out. Well, what does Ricochet think about all that? I really hope that's not the case. So we took the simplest, most bestest, to use improper English, narrative and we threw it out the window. So I think something has happened there, completely speculative. But ending it because Bobby Lashley got mad, listen, there may have been a justified reason to end it behind the scenes, but we don't know that as fans, so we're only guessing. So clearly watching it from the television, really lame way to end that and then just sort of, put three people in there. Really happy for the Gates of Agony and Ricochet because they deserve to be focused more on TV. Ricochet especially gets it. Hangman Page came back and destroyed that, man. His selling there I thought was totally wonderful, but that's my sad part with it all. But in terms of doing it as an angle, doing it as a skit, I mean, I would argue now that it should lead to Mark Briscoe absolutely whooping MJF's ass at one point. That was the other funny, I say, in inverted commas, is that obviously Mark Briscoe, like an hour before this, he said, I flew all this way, MJF, to kill you. That's what he said. And MJF said, I'd take that. I'll take that bet. You hold my beer. But there will be people that hate this. You could argue this goofy wrestling for life, and you could say, it shouldn't be in a world title program. Not on my watch, man. It's AEW. It's meant to be alternative. It's meant to be different. Take this craziness, take this silliness, take the intrigue of it all, and throw it into the main event. Throw it into the world championship. Make MJF a cartoon character. Make Hangman and the Page the same. I loved it. I thought it was excellent, even though, of course, I can sit here and criticize it, but it didn't mean that I wasn't sitting there going, man, I'm having the best time. That's why I watch anything. I just want to enjoy myself as I continue to go on my catchphrase train here. But it was totally nuts. It was the first. If it was the first thing you ever saw in wrestling, you're going to make a varied choice super quickly. Is this for me or is it not for me? And if it is for you, it's good because I don't think we do this all of the time. And if it's not for you, it's probably best you don't get into pro wrestling. So I guess the only other talking point, again, go What Culture Wrestling Ups and Downs if you want my sort of step-by-step review. Really good show overall. Love the main event in case I forget to talk about it. The tag team match. Really good finish with, who the hell was the illegal woman? Mercedes Moné. And then Athena hits the O-face onto Alex Windsor. It means that Alex Windsor got a visual pin or visual tap out. Athena did get the win. They're probably not going to win the pay-per-view, so it makes sense to build them up. Also something creative, not distraction, interference, confusion, actually thinking outside the box. So really cool. Much like the Charlotte Alexis finishes we were doing a few months ago. Women's tag team wrestling, I tell you, man, it's the future, or it should be the now. Let's make it the present. But it's the Will Ospreay stuff. Now, we're all talking in a way where we don't have all the information, of course, but Will Ospreay comes out and said he hasn't been cleared. He's still going to compete on Sunday in the cage match, which is quite worrying. He's going to leave it all on the line. And, if you were going to put the pieces together like a Professor Layton puzzle, I would assume he's having neck surgery, and it's been bad news for him. Now, straight away, take wrestling, throw it out the window. Who cares a crap about that? Hope he's okay. Hope he's doing all right. Hope he's prepared. I hope he's in a good headspace and all that absolute nonsense. When he does have the surgery, I hope it goes okay. Bringing wrestling back into the equation, we have to turn into his father. Not 100% sure in 2025 we should be doing this stuff anymore. I saw a few people comparing it to Kurt Angle, which is true. And listen, you'd have to talk to Kurt Angle, but I imagine there are occasions where he was like, man, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, Will Ospreay is a grown-ass man. It's not for me to tell him what to do. I'm just concerned. I'm just worried as a fan, and also kind of, I go back to intrigued, I suppose, what conversations were had. How has he been cleared for this? Because he said, I haven't been cleared. That's why we're doing an unsanctioned match. And I think it will be great. And everything we did here with the six-man tag with Tanahashi is awesome. I mean, it could be the last time we ever see Tanahashi wrestling in the UK. And I know he can't walk anymore, but that's a sign of, as long as he's healthy, within himself, what a sign of respect that is. Look how much he gave to pro wrestling. He can't walk anymore. People are taking insults at him. I don't think understand the business. Once again, to use dumb catchphrases. But all of that was fun. We had, actually, you want to talk about shenanigans? Will Ospreay put Marinda Shafir in a body bag, and then ta-da! It was Darby Allin. Samoa Joe's operations came out. I assume it's going to be the last match on the show, which is another reason why I'm starting to think that MJF is going to win. I should have gone with my original predictions. Check that video out. But yeah, I don't want to watch it with actually real concern. Like when Daniel Bryan first came back in WWE, Bryan Danielson was on commentary here. He was so much fun. He really just understands wrestling. But I was so concerned every time he got dropped on his neck because I became his dad. It also happened with Edge, Adam Copeland, when he was doing his stuff. So I think it's like a natural reaction as long as you're not a sociopath and you are a normal person. And again, he has to make his decisions. I said this on What Culture Ups and Downs too. I've had wrestling matches, not on Will Ospreay's level, not as good as Will Ospreay. That's not what I'm saying. So you just say that people go, oh, you think you're as good as Will Ospreay? Clearly not. I'm not a once-in-a-generational wrestling talent. No. In the ring. Surprise, surprise. But I have done the same, where quite clearly I haven't been 100% to wrestle. I should probably take some downtime, but you have an opportunity. You have something you want to do. You don't want to let people down, so you go ahead and do it. And in terms of your long-term health, probably not the best idea, but I guess everything has been leveled up a notch here. You know, he's on a bigger stage. He's a more talented wrestler, and his neck injury is bigger than anything I've had. Although, again, some of my injuries that I've not ever disclosed, or maybe want to talk about it one day, not recently, but I mean, you know, here and there, where you do just fight through the pain. It's a wrestling mentality. So I can understand why this has been approved. I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe it's a mentality that needs to go away. I don't know. It's up to discussion, but this is going to make me sound awful. I don't mean it to sound awful. Of course, you're allowed your thoughts. I think it really has to come down to people that have been in the ring and wrestled and sort of understand the 360-degree nature of it. At the same time, you can argue Simon Shorty should just be a doctor that says yes or no. And you'd be right there too. I hope that is the case. And then that way he is okay to a point. Like when Cody Rhodes wrestled with his pectoral muscle. How is that possible? Where a doctor said you can go out there and do it. He had the surgery. He recovered. Everything is all right. So very concerning, but very, very cool. And the War Dogs, what are they called? The Bullet Club War Dogs. That's right. Are on this show as well. So that was cool. Loads of UK talent as well. So that's very, very exciting. It's very, very nice for me. Bless all of you that messaged me going, Simon, why weren't you on this? I try every time they're over here, but you know, I'm nothing in the grand scheme of things. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I'm a wrestler and I work hard and I try hard and I put myself out there and I travel around the country all the time. But that doesn't give me any sort of given right to appear on an AEW show. There's hundreds of wrestlers, if not thousands of wrestlers in this country that also deserve opportunities. But yes, it's not for want of trying. I just wanted to let you know that, and I will continue to try. I don't give up easily. I'm quite a tenacious so-and-so. But really good start to the UK stuff. I think Forbidden Door will be excellent, and Tony Khan came out and said, essentially, I think before All In next year, they're going to do another tour, which they should do, because quite clearly the demand is there for it. Don't have to put 50,000 plus in a stadium. You can do an O2 arena at 17,000. You can do a Hydro at 7. I mean, there are some venues over here that do 5 and 6, and I think that AEW could sold them out easily. And 6,000 people in a sold-out place with good acoustics is going to sound like a million human beings. So really good, really fun. I'm sure there's some things I've forgotten about as well. Check out that tag team match if you are looking for a segment or a match to watch. I'd watch the Edge and Christian segment. You know, I'd watch it all because you need to see the attempted death threat. I also was confused by Roderick Strong. I understand why we put Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly in this, because on Collision we do the Young Bucks match, and my gosh, it's like PWG Classic, whatever you want to call it. Totally random. And maybe sometimes AEW does get a little bit too random with these things, but we could just take our time because we have 52 weeks of TV. But then again, the match is going to be really good, so I will become somewhat of a hypocrite. As always, especially the MJF and Edge and Christian stuff, let me know what you thought of it down there. Has it been too rushed? Is it too crazy for you? There are no wrong answers, as long as you're respectful and nice. Especially if somebody disagrees with you, we can have a nice intellectual discourse. Also, please do like the video, share the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. My Forbidden Door predictions are there. Give it a click. Go to my new fitness channel. We talked about the Triple H body shaming stuff. Thank goodness I had the outlooks. I needed to talk about it. There'll be a link down there as well. Otherwise, grillermind.com/Simon, 10% off using the code Simon. These are the best supplements. If you're in the gym, use them. I promise you they'll help you. Patreon.com/Simon316 for watch along. I'm a little bit behind. I'm going to sort that out today. Otherwise, yes, it is Simon316 on social media. Simon Miller on the Cameo. Simon J. Miller on the TikTok, where I'm doing those producing videos. I put them on YouTube as well, but follow me on TikTok just for the hell of it. And Pro Wrestling Tees, Big Cartel for merchandise. Don't know why I said that like I was Santina Morella. Was that Santina Morella? There's somebody else. What are we talking about? I don't know. Have terrific days. I'll see you on Sunday. I'll be at Forbidden Door. Take care, my friends. And yeah, maybe I'll shake your hand then.